The Crimean Peninsula provides the backdrop for the fourth round of this season's Intercontinental Rally Challenge, with the former Soviet state of Ukraine a new chapter in the IRC series history. It's 20 years since the country declared independence and moved away from its communist past. But while embracing much of the Western way, it can still be quite confusing to travellers. For once, getting to the stages may be more tricky than getting through them. Dramatically positioned between the Petri Mountains and the north coast of the Black Sea, the city of Yalta has played its own part in history, hosting a top-secret conference in 1945 between Allied war leaders Churchill, Roosevelt and Stalin. So this is a new event for all the crews, not only for the Peugeot UK team of Guy Wilks and Pugh, and ups the ante on an already busy schedule. Success on an IRC event is not just down to what Guy and Phil achieve when the handbrake goes off. A new event in a new location means long hours for the whole team.
You have to know that after Corsica, when the car were back from Corsica, we had only 6 days left to work on the car to be ready for here. All the guys were working more than 14 hours a day to be ready, to rebuild everything, to check everything and to be sure that the speed of the car, the reliability of the car is on the top. Every rally, it's quite complicated week. They start around 5:30 in the morning and they stop about midnight, so it's a very long day, but it's our passion of all of us, so that's why we can do this job. It's a human story, first and all, between the drivers, the co-driver, the logistic, the mechanics, everybody around. It's a team spirit, and this is what we like.
Those dazzled by the glamour of driving a car fast for a living may not find the hours, the fitness training, the testing, the travelling and long days and nights quite so attractive.
It starts before we get in the car, to be honest. It's when you come to a new event, you've got to do a little bit of background digging, try and work out what the event's like, myself and the engineer, the terrain of the road, what the weather's going to be like when we do the rally. You're thinking about the car and how it's going to react on the roads. Are there bumps? Is the level of grip? And then on a night we'll run back through, sometimes not to check the pace notes, sometimes just to see exactly what's happening, because you might have done 4 or 5 stages in a day and they all have a slightly different character. We have press commitments as well. We'll be going to the press conference and then other press interviews as well, so it's always hectic. We don't get much time for sitting around the pool.
After the recce and more discussions on the best setup for the car comes shakedown, the last chance to get the Peugeot UK 207 in optimum condition for the competitive stages.
So it's vitally important. We've got 3 hours. There's over 100 cars want to do the shakedown, so we've got to get as much done and as positively as possible. So really important.
Coming to a brand new country means the drivers are heading into unknown territory.
When you come to a new event, you've got to make sure that when you write the pace notes, you put as much information into them as you possibly can from a co-driver side. And especially when you come to a foreign event, as far east as we are, where maybe the English language isn't as well spoken. Sat-nav doesn't help that much in a country like this. Some of the names of the villages, they do end in a B or an E, so you can tell where you are now and again. Yeah, it can be quite difficult.
I think it's going to be a very interesting rally, very difficult rally. Last night there was a hell of a thunderstorm, so it could have changed the roads a great deal, and we go into the stages blind again, so anything that it's washed out, whether it be gravel or there's water running across the road. The roads are quite primitive, and the drainage systems underneath and alongside the roads, they're not usually there, so the water runs down the side and across the roads. So yeah, we'll face that, and I'm sure the weather's done its worst to bear for us.
In a break from tradition, the opening showcase of stages will run around the city before the ceremonial start. The first chance to assess the stages was a short blast along the coast before a sweeping climb up a hill, and a third quickest time for the Peugeot UK boys, 1.5 seconds behind Thierry Neuville, who led the way in his Peugeot 207. But there was better to come on the second stage. A superb blast across the asphalt saw Wilks go fastest through. 1.4 seconds better than Neuville's Peugeot 207, which means overnight the Peugeot UK team are in second place, but just 1/10 of a second off the lead. With 262 competitive kilometres in total, there are 12 more stages to follow on Prime Yalta Rally, Ukraine. On day 2 of the IRC's Prime Yalta Rally, there was one big question facing all the crews as they prepared for 6 stages and 137 competitive kilometres. Which tyres would perform best on the slippery Ukrainian asphalt? 2 sprints yesterday provided a taster for the teams, with Peugeot UK's Guy Wilks and Pugh certainly picking the right rubber as they went fastest on the second of the 2 stages, with fellow Peugeot 207 driver Thierry Neuville on the same setup, quickest on the other. For the first day proper of the rally, the road conditions were more difficult to call after being doused by thunderous rain. 3 stages in the morning would be run again in the afternoon, and at the start of the day, Guy was more keen than ever to get a grip on the event from the start.
Last night we had a really big thunderstorm, and as I said before, the grip level in these roads is not so high. So you have to try and manage either a soft tyre with no cuts or a hard tyre with a lot of cuts. Obviously we have a range from hard all the way to soft. And at the moment it's a secret. I think everybody's keeping it close to their chest about what the plan is, but really I think it's all about the confidence of the driver and what tyre they have underneath them.
Plenty of interest in the tyres chosen by the British pair, but only after co-driver Pugh had confirmed it was time to go did the wraps come off to reveal the big secret.
This is a game. It's between everybody. It's always like this. We just put the spare at the last minute, and there is no indication of the tyre, which kind of tyre it is. So it's like a game, but it's an important game also. I mean, we decided for a medium compound with some cut on it. We saw yesterday that we were softer than the other, and it works because we were 1 and 2. So we follow the same way. We decided to go for medium compound with some cuts. Cuts could help in case of soft mud.
After the deliberations, it was time to put theory into practice on the stages, where the locals clearly agreed about the importance of having the right tread. Special Stage 3 crossed the Petrie mountain range, and at the end, Wilks and Pugh held on to second place overall, going 4th fastest over the 17.26 kilometres. However, on the 22 kilometres of Stage 4, a number of top drivers saw their progress slowed, including the Peugeot UK pair, whose 207 suffered a whole rear tyre less than a third of the way in. Can you tell us about your puncture on the last stage?
I had one, I don't know why. We had a little bit of a frustrating start the first stage. We had no handbrake working. Electronic glitch, it can happen. But basically when you pull a handbrake, it locks all 4 wheels. So you don't get any turning action with the car, and we lost a little bit of time. And then I was very careful in the first part of the last stage, the middle stage, to try and not get a puncture. And then in the middle part, towards the end, I got one. So.
And to Stage 5, where rally leader Thierry Neuville had a spin and lost 2 minutes. No problems for Wilks, 3rd quickest through the stage, to reach the halfway stage of day 2, 4th overall. And surprisingly, after the puncture, just 25.8 seconds off the lead. A rough morning then for many of the cars heading back to service to replenish their tyre supplies for the afternoon. A 30-minute service and then back on the road for another tilt at the 3 stages. No hiccups on Stage 6, and Wilks' time was 10 seconds better than his first push through, so 6th fastest and keeping his 4th place overall. There was a hint of what might have been for the Peugeot UK crew as they finished the second running of the plateau stage in 2nd place, making up time they lost earlier on the same stretch of road. And to the final stage of the day, where bad luck struck once again, another puncture and more frustration for the British driver.
times other than that, you know, pretty decent. But the first puncture this morning, rear puncture, didn't feel anything. Just felt the tyre going soft and the car sliding, and then eventually it pushed it off the rim. And we lost enough time with that. And then in the last stage, we were just behind Jan, chasing third place and trying to make some time back on the leaders. And maybe 8 kilometres in, fast section uphill, climbing, and then starts to drop down quite quick. There's a wall on the outside and a rock face with grass and things on the inside, and a left-hander, didn't think I got into it too much. It was still on the tarmac, but maybe there was a rock or something under the overhanging grass, and just clipped it. I felt a little, and the next right-hander the car understeered, so I knew it was flat instantly, so we had to stop and change. Nothing we could do about them. The first one, like I said, we were just driving the road. I mean, we avoided rocks through the course of the day, you know, driving around them in the stage. To not get a puncture and then to get 2 like this it's a bit gut-wrenching, you know, after we've deliberately come here to try and drive in the middle of the road and stay out of trouble.
We make, I think, the right tyre choice. I mean, the speed was there. We were just unlucky. I mean, I see the car is good. He's happy with the car. The tyre choice was exactly the right one. Just this stupid puncture, but what can we do? With so many stones on the road, to just be lucky or unlucky.
The pace of the Peugeot UK team across the day means despite 2 time-heavy punctures, they'll start the final day of the rally in 5th place, behind leader Juho Hänninen, who was one of the few to escape mishap on the testing roads. Brian Bouffier, Jan Kopecki and Andreas Mikkelsen make up the rest of the top 5. The stages will be reversed for the final day of the rally. 6 more to go, with plenty of chances to claw back precious seconds on round 4 of the Intercontinental Rally Challenge. Another day, another early start on the Intercontinental Rally Challenge, and time for the final stages of Prime Yalta Rally in Ukraine, round 4 of this year's IRC. Back on the road for the Peugeot UK crew after a 7 a.m. service and into a familiar routine for Pugh and driver Guy Wilks.
Obviously we have to drive from the service park to the stages, and to get there obviously we need to go along the main road with the same road regulations as everybody else. So yeah, we have a set time to get from the service park to the stages, and then from the end of the next stage to the next stage. And then obviously we stop about 2 or 3 kilometres before the stage start.
Long stretches on the road are obviously a fundamental part of being a rally driver, the tiniest but fastest part of which is the run through the stages. After the mechanics have done what they can, the pre-stage preparations are down to the man controlling the Peugeot 207.
We've already heat cycled the tyres on the road now. We'll have done some braking to get some temperature in the tyre so that they don't climb in temperature too quickly at the start of the stage and then start to get a strange feeling in the car. So Phil's actually taking some air out of the tyres now, so we can set the pressure and start the stage. They will increase, but hopefully not too much, so they can stay at the optimal working range.
6 stages remain, 3 this morning, the same 3 in the afternoon, and the Peugeot UK team is 5th overall, hoping for a chance to advance in the rankings. Underway on stage 9, just short of 19 kilometres, with the Peugeot 207 running on medium compound tyres. 5th fastest by the stage end, with Andreas Mikkelsen setting a blistering pace at the front. Just 6th quickest on stage 10 for the Peugeot UK team, focused on completing the event, and as a result holding firm in 5th overall. And on the last stage of the sequence, another tempered approach by Wilks to safely complete the morning's kilometres. Back on a road section, and the British pair have been at rally speed for just 40 minutes, despite having been in the Peugeot 207 for more than 3 hours today. Next up is the midday service, where the second most time-consuming part of the rally has to be observed, keeping the officials happy with the paperwork. And with time control a little way from the team area, there's some help to get Phil back a bit quicker. And to ensure he's also back in one piece, someone else takes charge of the driving. 30 minutes isn't long when lunch is waiting along with the team boss, and then the media's hoping for a word, and changes to the notes have to be made, while outside the mechanical needs of the car are dealt with.
The tyres we took for the first loop were a little bit too soft, and so we've gone in a harder compound now. And we're going to keep the pace as good as we can without taking risks, and see what happens in front of us.
I mean, you have nothing to win, unfortunately, because the gap is too big with the guys in front. But we have a lot to lose. So the only thing we can do is to finish the rally and hope that something can happen in the front.
With the Peugeot 207 refreshed, time to complete the formalities again and get back underway. No problems for Wilks on stage 12, apart from a small spin for Andreas Mikkelsen, no time lost by the other front runners either, so no gain for the British pairing. And it was as you were for stage 13. But there was a sting in the tail in the final few metres of the final stage, where the car clipped a concrete bollard sticking out in the road that was holding a sign for the flying finish. A win then for Juho Hänninen for Skoda, with Brian Bouffier in second place, Jan Kopecki in third, Andreas Mikkelsen in fourth. And coming home in fifth place, Guy Wilks and Phil Pugh. And after 3 punctures in 2 days, perhaps a better result than at first glance. After all, just one blowout can end a rally.
The important thing was to bring home some points. I think our pace on the first day was very good. We probably took the wrong tyres in the second loop, and we still had really a couple of good times. If we'd have had the harder tyres on, I think we probably could have been close to scratch times, the fastest times. But it's something we have to learn. We probably just weren't brave enough. I mean, as a team, collectively, just to take that next step and go on the harder compound. In the afternoon, it was definitely warm enough, and I think we've learned a lot about how the car is reacting, because we've had a little bit of development with the dampers, and the car is reacting slightly differently. That's for sure. So we have to just go away and have a little think about it. But I'm sure we've learned a lot from this weekend.
The car is there, the team is there, the drivers are there. We just have to be a little bit more lucky.
I think somebody summed it up before we came here, said it was the Monte Carlo of the Black Sea, and I think they're quite correct. If you if you come to this event any time of year, I think the road's going to be tricky. Be it dry conditions, wet conditions. There's something about the tarmac. It's really slippy. If the event's in next year, then obviously we've learnt a lot. Going on to the next event, Belgium, completely different character. So I think we just have to take this one out of our heads and look at Belgium in a fresh way.
Round 5 of the Intercontinental Rally Challenge takes place between the 23rd and 25th of June in the medieval splendour of Ypres in Belgium.